glasses are still fogging up. And in frame. What's going on, guys? My name is Bryant. Why do I still say the I don't know why I still say the if I know what I'm gonna say. Okay. What's going on, guys? My name is Brian, also known as ThatJournalingGuy, and welcome to today's video. So today, it's gonna be a little bit of a different video, something you guys probably haven't seen yet. And before we get any further, I just want to say this is all my opinion and my experience. You might have had a different experience, therefore a different result for this whole thing. But I am a big YouTube consumer. I watch a lot of YouTube videos, so anime, movies, tech, music, I watch all of that kind of stuff on YouTube. And something that I noticed that all those communities did that we didn't really do was have a tier list. If you don't know what a tier list is, you're pretty much taking a product or something, or a set of data, right? And you're ranking it from best to worst. So it goes S, A, B, C, D. D being the worst, S being God tier, the best of the best. So I thought it'd be a lot of fun to take the 30 most commonly found stationery products that we see in our community and rank them from best to worst based on my opinion and experience. My experience. Don't go crazy in the comments, okay? It's my experience. And I would really like for you guys to do it too and see how you guys would rank everything. So I'm actually going to include the link to the tier list that I made down in the description below. And if you guys want to do it and take a picture and send it to me or tag me on Instagram, we could even do hashtag stationery tier list. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. All right. By the way, this is my third time recording this video because there's so many moving parts. But anyway, all right, you guys are about to hear an audio change in 3, 2, 1. And now you guys are hearing this microphone, and hopefully it's a little bit better. Because I feel like I'm going to be facing the screen a little bit more than directly into the camera, so hopefully it sounds a little bit better. But let's get right into it. So the first ones, we got the Crayola Super Tips, which are highly recommended. I think these are probably one of the most used markers in the entire community because they're affordable, they're good quality, the pigments aren't too deep, there's a large assortment of colors. They're just, and I see them recommended often for hand lettering, and honestly I use them pretty often. So we're off to a really good start. We are popping these in the great section. These are definitely A. They're not S tier because we obviously know what's going to be S tier for hand lettering, but in terms of markers, they're pretty great. It's hard for me to recommend something else for somebody who's starting off with their bullet journal because they're just so good for the price. It's hard to beat them. So let's move on. We've got the new kids on the block. We've got the Acrylograph Archer and Olive pens. Okay, so the way I think of these is they're like a first generation pen. Okay, they're brand new. Everybody's super excited for them, and for their journals, I think they work spectacularly. But I have had a few problems with them that I feel like I shouldn't have had for the price point. So 2 of my Acrylograph pens right out of the box, when I was getting the ink out, trying to squeeze the ink out because you have to press it down on their little blender palettes, both nibs actually got stuck inside of the pen to the point where I actually couldn't even use a tweezer to take them out because it would just keep pushing them back in, and unfortunately just kind of became unusable. So it's rather unfortunate for the price point, but I think they work great on their journals. I think they work great on what they do there, but they're good. I'm gonna have to put them in the good section because I feel like they still haven't been tried and true and tested yet. I don't even know if tried and true, I feel like that's not even a saying, but we're gonna say that here. Okay, it sounds like something it should be, right? Tried and true. I mean, it's a saying, right? It's a saying, but I don't know what I'm saying. Net Artist Loft, it's D. It's D. I've never had a good experience with Artist Loft. The only thing that I could ever recommend for Artist Loft is their bullet journal. That is it. They're D. They're they're doo-doo. Sometimes if you use Artist Loft, I'm sorry, but like, why? I just want to know. When there's so many better things that you can get for the same price, it's just like, it's really hard for me to recommend these. So let's just move on. For the next, we've got the D. They're D. I'm not even going to give you a reason why. They're just D. They're the worst markers I've ever used in my entire life. In my entire life. Ever. D. Moving on. Artist Loft Watercolor Dual. So the big round stick M, I feel like that's the pen that we've all like seen at one point in time. Like we were in high school or middle school and you're like, yo bro, let me borrow a pen. That's the pen that you got. Like that's the pen that people gave you. You know, they're reliable. Let's call them the old reliables. You know, you're taking a Scantron test and you actually use number 2 pencils for that. I don't know what I'm saying. Let's say you're just taking an exam and you forgot a pen. That's the pen that you got. You see them everywhere. So old reliable, not so good, but like what we used to use. Like if you still use these for your bullet journal, again, why? I feel like we're past this point, guys. Just let me get you a better pen. They're good though. You know, a doctor's office. I call these the doctor's office pens. The ones that are like on little metal rings and you try to steal them, but you can't. That's just me? So the next one, the Copic sketch markers. Dude, these are like, I feel like these are, I don't know if sketch artists think of these as like overrated, because I feel like they might, but for the ones that I have, these are like the sketch markers. They're amazing. Amazing. They're so good for what they do, but I don't know how actual artists think of these. Are these overrated? Because they're super expensive and they're always locked behind glass when you go to like Michael's or Joann's, so you can't even really like see them. You need to go get somebody to get them for you, and like they're crazy expensive. But I'm gonna have to, for their like, you know, kind of thing that they do for being sketch markers, they're S tier. This is what, when I think of quality and sketch markers in the same sentence, it's gotta be Copic. Because that's just me? No. I mean, this is all just me technically, but let's move on. We've got the Crayola markers. What is this? The fine line markers. And these are like, again, you know, when you were in middle school or something and the teacher brought out the bin with all the markers and dumped it on the desk or told you to pick your colors, you always went for the fine line Crayola markers because you knew that your art would be so much better than everybody else's if you got the fine liners. They're good. Like, I'm gonna put them in the not so good just because they're like the old reliables of markers. This is the kind of stuff that we used and could still even use now. I would actually still use this now if I didn't have all the other things that I do, but they're still good. These are good. I'm gonna put them in the not so good section again, just because. Think of that like the old reliable section. Like, they were good. They're not bad, but they're just okay. So let's not even call that bad, like not bad. Let's just call it okay. So we've got amazing, great, good, okay, doo-doo, Artist Loft, poo-poo in a cup. Next one. Okay, EK Tools is actually, I have to put these up really high because these were the first like markers that I used just off of a whim. I was first starting off like bullet journaling and I was in Target and I was like in the fabric section and I found a pack of these. And I used these for so long. I used these for like maybe my first year. I would use this to color, to outline, for everything. I thought they were so good. And it's unfortunate that I don't see them as much anymore. I feel like not a lot of people use EK Tools. I do. But they're good. I'm gonna put those next to the super tips because I would definitely highly recommend them to anybody and everybody who's just starting out with bullet journaling. Even now, I still find myself using these, so they're pretty good. All right, if you have seen the channel at all up until this point, I am a huge Faber-Castell fan, like huge, like I'm their fanboy. I love everything that they put out, especially their Pit Artist pens, because they're so reliable. Like, I still to this day just use them for everything. And when I say I use them for everything, it's been like 3 or 4 years. of me just using them for everything. So yeah, I'm like a really, really big fan of Faber-Castell. But now the brush pens are kind of something a little bit different, in the sense that like there's better. Like they're not my first go-to pens for like they're not my go-to pens for brush pens. I feel like they're a little bit too watery for my taste, and the quality that I find in their fine liners, I feel like I don't find in their brush pens. So I'm gonna just say they're good. They're good. You know, would I recommend these for somebody who's a little bit past the super tips? Yeah, maybe. But even then, I still think the super tips are a little bit better for hand lettering. But you know, to each their own. Oh, S tier. You just heard that whole rant? It's S. This is going to be a hugely biased list, by the way. Like huge, because they're amazing. They're my go-to. We've got the felt tip pens. Okay, in general, I'm not a fan of a lot of felt tip pens because I feel like it's really hard to find pens that don't like ghost to the other side or like bleed. I think these are better than most felt like tip pens, especially the Pentel. I think they're a little bit better than the Pentel felt tips, but they're good. I'll put them in good. I can't give Faber-Castell anything less than good, because I feel like I would be lying to you and myself if I've said anything that they put out is just less than good. I'm gonna be honest. We've got Le Pen. It's not French. Le Pen. It's actually a Japanese company that makes these. These were like, you know, like hidden treasures for a really long time. These I found at Michael's, just they were like sold individually, and I ended up buying like a black and a brown one. And don't ask me why I bought the brown one, but I just did. And they're surprisingly really, really good. Like they're fine liners, I guess you could say. There's nothing spectacular about them. There's no super quality about them, but they're good. If you got these, then good. You got these. Mild liners. All right, we already know. We already know what we got to do with these. They're S tier. They're S tier. These are like the things that you use that everybody has. You need a highlighter? Mild liners. You add accents to everything. You just start highlighting shit because you can highlight stuff. Like you just start going off. Mild liners. And I use the rounded tips in the back to color, and then I use the highlighter tips to highlight my text. S tier. Hard to beat. Very, very hard to beat. We've got the Muji gel pens. So my first pack that I ever got was actually a birthday present from a friend. I had no idea what they were. I didn't even know what Muji was. And she got it in a Muji store in New York, and she brought them. And I haven't seen gel pens in the same light since. I hated gel pens. I'm gonna be honest. I thought they were the worst things ever, because I was so used to having like the dollar store flea market pens, and they dried up in like 25 seconds, and then after the first day of school I couldn't even use them anymore. They were Garbaggio 9000. But these, they're so important to me for what I use them for, that I actually have them at my desk at all times. Ever since I organized my desk, they're always there. So for the gel pen category, I'm gonna put these in S tier. They're S tier stuff. It's S tier, you know. Oops. Okay, so these are the felt tips that I was talking about. The Pentel like sign pen felt tip pens. They're pretty good. They feel a little cheap in like the quality sense, but these are also one of those that like doesn't ghost or bleed through too much. They're decent. So I'm gonna put these in the good. Like they're good. Good. This is another staple that you see with a lot of sketch artists, people who take art like super seriously. Even in the bullet journaling community, like alone, you see the Sakura Pigma pens, like the Micron pens, a lot. And when I think of quality fine liners, this is one of the first brands that come to my mind, and also one of my higher recommendations for somebody who wants to get a good pen set, like fine liner set. So these I'm going to put right next to the super tips. I don't think they're as good as the Faber-Castell, but I like the difference in like tips. Like it comes in a variety of tips, a lot of different nib sizes, and I still have yet to run out of ink in one of them. So they're pretty good. They're pretty good. You know, they're pretty good. Then we got the Pilot Frixion pens. These are like those erasable pens, right? Now, I've heard a lot of good stuff about these. The thing that I've heard about, though, is like the ink does dry up super quickly. And I haven't had a personal problem with these pens. Like, they don't dry up for me. They're okay. I use them for the Rocket Book, like the Wave. And I still have the first pen that it comes with. Haven't had any problems. But nothing too crazy about it. I feel like the erasing isn't as good as it could be. So I'm going to put that in the good section. Just good. The Pilot Gel. Okay, so these G2, like the fine pens in all the different colors, is like the Bic. You know, these are like, instead of like middle school, they're more like high school. You know, this is the pen that was like cool and like glided, and when you didn't have any other point of comparison, these were the high quality standard. So I'm gonna put these. I'm gonna put these in the good section. What are these again? These are amazing, great, good. Oh yeah, I'm gonna put them in the good. So yeah, the Frixion are in the okay section, not in the good. They're in the okay. So we've got like amazing, great, good, okay, and bad. The next, okay, so I used to work at Staples. I was like one of their sales techs, and I saw this brand of pen and like journals and planners and stuff, and these are surprisingly really good. Like the ink flows through them like a baby sea otter sleeping in a river. It flows really well. They're better quality than you would expect them to be. And they're probably some of my favorite pens that I've ever used. They're so smooth. They just glide. They're just like gliding. I'm going to put these. Wow. I didn't think I would actually put like pens, like actual pens, in a great section. But I recommend these pretty highly. I would definitely tell you guys to get these for just regular pens. Okay, the Prismacolor like fine liners are amazing. Why does nobody talk about them more than they do? People should be talking about these more. They're so good and they're so thin, and I feel like I love it. I love them. I don't use them as much as the Faber-Castell, but I can see that if they have like their own following, and if you use Prismacolor, like I understand. I get it. So they're S tier in terms of the fine liner like category. They're right there with the Faber-Castell. So I get it. I understand. The Sakura Pigma brush pens. These I literally have these at my desk too. They are super like dense pigmented colors. You better know what you're doing when you're using these, because I feel like they're very unforgiving pens, and this was like their entry into the brush market like category, and they're a little expensive. You can buy them individually. I've got all the colors. I like them, but not as good as the other competitors. They're just very harsh in my opinion, and I have had trouble with them ghosting. So I'm gonna just put them in the good section. For the price, I feel like you could probably find something better. We've got the Jelly Roll Classics. These are pretty decent. They're also from Sakura, so like the Pigma Micron, like this is the same company. And this was one of the first pens that I was told to buy when I wanted to write on like black paper, or like even when I colored something in black with like my Faber-Castells. If I wanted to have any kind of white accents, I have the white Jelly Roll, and it has been really good. It's smooth. It doesn't like cake up at the end. I didn't really have that problem with these. It's still going strong, hasn't dried up. They're pretty good. I'm gonna put them in the great section. I'm gonna put these in the great in terms of like gel pens. They're definitely great. The Scribbles That Matter. So I got one of these with the Scribbles That Matter notebook that I had, and I already had a few of them before that. And these feel a lot like the Stabilo pens, so I feel like there isn't really anything too crazy about them. Like, they do what they say they do, and that's the best description that I have for them. They're not groundbreaking. It's just kind of like they wanted to get their foot in the water and kind of give people more options. They're okay. I'm going to say they're okay. They're not like good. They're just okay. The Sharpie smear god. We're going to call these the smear god because they smear everything. It doesn't matter what you're doing. They smear everything. That whole little smear sign, they're lying. It smears everything and anything. You probably didn't even write anything on your paper and it smeared the paper. It's that bad. So I'm going to, wow, I didn't think I'd put anything next to the artist loft. These were like the standard that you saw in like high school and stuff like that, and like university. This is what people used. They shouldn't have. These are terrible. I think they're so bad. We're moving on. Sharpie permanent markers. They're good. They're good. I tried to use these in like my beginning bullet journal, only to find out that they completely went through everything, even the cover. Like, I feel like they're that strong. So I'm going to put these in the okay. I feel like journals nowadays have enough paperweight that maybe you won't see the kind of problems I did when I was first starting out to bullet journal, but they're okay. Okay, these are really fucking good. These are so good. Like, these are top tier. They're so good. These are like pens that I was using like for exams in university. Like, they're that good. They look like actual pens. They feel like actual pens. They're not that expensive. You could find them at your Staples or Walmart. You find them everywhere. These are so good. I'm going to put them in the great section because I have so many of these and I still use so many of these. These are my third choice when it comes to fine liners. Okay, these are super popular for some reason. You see these like everywhere. Is it just me? I feel like I see these really often, especially on Instagram with people who are like working on their bullet journals. And I don't really think they're that good. Like, I like the colors and I like the colors that it comes in, but they just don't feel high quality in my opinion. Like, I think these are overrated, if I'm being honest. The Stabilo like highlighters, I think they're a little overrated for what they do. They're also Smear God 9000s. Like, I'm just gonna put these in the okay. I think they're okay. I feel like a lot of people are gonna be mad at me about that one, but they're just okay. The Stabilo fine liners, again, nothing too groundbreaking. They feel fine. They look fine. They work fine. When I see these, I think of like really cheap fine liners though. And I'm not the biggest fan of Stabilo, I guess. I guess I'm realizing that for the first time as you guys are. So I'm gonna put that in the okay section. These are the Staedtler. I can never say the name right, so don't judge me. Staedtler. Yo, these I'm not gonna say the name. These are also really good. They're good enough for me to have like at my desk at all times. I think the variation in colors is phenomenal. It comes in so many colors. I got like a neon set. They're a lot of fun to use. These feel way higher quality than like the Stabilo fine liners, and they have the same general shape, but they feel like heavier. The pigment of the ink is really good. I love these. I'm gonna put these in the good section. I'm gonna put them in the good. Tombow, the calligraphy brush pens I use literally probably on a daily basis for not only doodling or hand lettering, for outlines, for everything. These are S tier. And the dual brush pens, of course, like I have my little gripes with them and my little complaints, but they are S tier. If you're getting into hand lettering, they're S tier. That's the best. Like, you're not gonna find something better. It's dual tips too, so you can use the opposite side to like color and outline and then do your whole hand letter. They're S tier. Get them. Just get them. They're a small little investment, but they're worth it. Get them. All right. So this is my final list. My S category is definitely preferences and biases, you know? Like, those are the things that I use the most, and there's a reason I use them the most, because I think they're the highest quality. So this is my ending list. If there's something you don't agree with, I would love to hear your opinion on it. I would love for you guys to comment. I would love for you guys to visit the tier list, make one yourself, and then show me how you would rank these differently and why. Maybe give me a reason why. Like, you would either take something in, like, out, or put something in. It'd be really cool to see. So yeah, today was just a little fun video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like what you see, definitely leave a comment and a like down below. If you love what you see, definitely subscribe. And if you're really into this whole bullet journaling thing, you can follow me at ThatJournalingGuy on Instagram, where I post a bunch of my personal spreads and why I do certain things in my bullet journal. I think you guys would really enjoy that. So thank you guys so much for watching the channel and for visiting and for being here with me. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.